Welcome, everyone, to another Energy Healer Spotlight. I'm Selena, an energy healer and mentor, and I love helping others strengthen their gifts and expand their reach. Today, I'm happy, excited, and blessed to introduce you Kate Patraw, an incredible certified practitioner of the emotion code, body code, and the belief code. So, we're going to dive into her journey, her experiences, and some powerful breakthroughs she's witnessed. So if you're on a healing path, whether for yourself or others, you're going to love this conversation. So let's dive in. Welcome, Kate.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy you're here. I love connecting with other healers and hearing their stories and even how you got into energy work. So maybe that's a good place for us to start. If you could tell us a little bit about yourself, anything you want to share, and what drew you to the world of healing.
Sure. So it kind of both answers to both questions kind of go hand in hand. So I used to be a special education teacher. I was a special education teacher for 20 years at the middle school level, started right out of college and absolutely loved it. Thought that was what I was going to do the rest of my life until stress. I kind of ignored the stress enough where my body was starting to now respond. And it was one of those things where I had to take a pause and kind of consider things and heal and figure out what I wanted to do next, which
Right.
brought me to
20 years as a special ed teacher,
20
that
years.
can be like an emotionally taxing job, even if you don't, even if you love it, right?
And I did. I loved it so much, but it really does burn you out quite quickly, because it is so emotionally and physically just very intense every day.
Yeah.
So I was having some chronic stuff go on and I would go to the doctors. They'd say, your labs are fine. I would go to the acupuncturist and we'd work. And finally, I was on a leave from school and I was at my acupuncturist and she was like, listen, I think you need to try this. We've tried all the physical things. We've tried all the supplements and all of these things. I think it's more emotional. And I was like, okay, I'll try it. Because, you get to a point where you're like, I'll try anything. I just want to
Right.
feel better. And I was just feeling so stuck in my health and my wellness and was feeling so odd not being in school because I'd taken that leave to kind of just figure out my body and mind and what I wanted to do next and what was going on, really. So
Yeah.
it was an odd time for me, not only like with my physical ailments, but also like emotionally, I felt odd. I felt
Yeah.
off.
What was it? A bunch of different physical symptoms that the acupuncturist was working with?
Yeah, she was working with my thyroid. She was working with digestive issues. She was working with reproductive issues, just all of like just my reproductive system type of things. And nothing was moving the needle. Like I would have a
Gotcha.
little bit of relief, and then it would almost be like I would backslide a little. And then I would think, okay, I'm going to try this, doctor, and nothing against them, but they would get my labs back and be like, you're fine. And in my head, I'm
Mhm.
going, I'm not fine. Like I don't feel like myself.
Right. Right.
In your head you're screaming it like, no, I'm not fine. But something wasn't, I wasn't getting to something, to the root of something. And so met with this new practitioner that my acupuncture, well, she wasn't new, but I met with the new to me practitioner, and she really dove in on my digestive, my reproductive, and shockingly, but now not shockingly, a lot of emotional stuff came up. And so it was very eye-opening to me, and we
Wow.
worked
And she was the emotion code practitioner, or?
emotion and body code
Oh,
practitioner.
awesome.
And now I believe she's certified in belief code because she very much is still my mentor to this day. And she
Beautiful.
taught me so much about all of it. I started to dive into the books. She kind of taught me how to release my own emotions just on a very basic level. She taught me how to muscle test. So I kind of honed that before I even got into this. And, down the line, I would dabble and work with my sister here and there. But as I was reading the books, it came to me. One, I was just so pulled to it. I was so pulled to it. I couldn't read enough. I couldn't learn enough about it. It fascinated me. But then, still being in my teacher brain, as I read the books, I was thinking this should be in every school. This could help
Right.
all of my students with disabilities and just help them feel better. It's, to me, what really spoke was how accessible it is to everyone and how inclusive it is with everyone. And that is so important to me and always has been. And so I just thought this should be everywhere. And so
Yes.
I made the hard decision to leave education and got certified because I thought, well, if I'm going to work with people, I need to get certified, and just went through that. And here we are today. And so it
Yeah,
did
and
really
yeah,
well.
I hear you kind of getting obsessed with it. You find something that works so
Yeah.
well at the root cause
Mhm.
and is natural, non-invasive, can help everyone, and You put your time in for teaching, you served in a beautiful way, and now you get to still continue to serve and help people just in
Yeah.
a new way, right?
Absolutely, in such a different way. And I felt for me, it was such a type of thing to approach because when you do come to a session, and at least in my experience, my personal experience, I was so defeated. I was like, what is this going to be? You just don't know. But then when I got there, my practitioner's like, listen, you sit back and let the energy flow. Here's what I do. And then also kind of learn about myself in that way and have
Yes.
things explained in that way. It's so eye opening. And
Right.
it was kind of validating. Like I was like, okay, I didn't make up all this stuff. There's just more causes to it than I realized, because my brain hadn't been kind of opened to that world yet. So it's just to me, it's so amazing and so non-invasive and easy to go through. And I can't rave enough
Right.
about it because it's helped me so much.
And with you working with that population and in a school setting, if you're the type of empath that absorbs other people's emotions easily, I would imagine that you probably had a lot of stuck energy that wasn't even yours, right?
Absolutely. There were a lot of absorbed things, and I am very empathic. So I think that
Yeah.
every day felt so big and so tough because you come home with those emotions. You have a
Right.
kid who struggles, and it's like you feel the struggle and you feel the
Yes.
sadness they're feeling. So it was a very rewarding career, but it was also very heavy and also, just very emotional. And so things definitely, there were trapped emotions, heart wall, you name it, from at least teaching. And then, prior to, because life
Right.
happens to
Your
all
own
of us.
life. Yeah. So yeah, but you had your own life, your own traumas, and then you had all your students
Yeah.
year after year. And like now, with that experience, I'm sure you kind of grown to see like how important energy hygiene is and found a way to like take care of your energy hygiene needs on a more regular basis so it doesn't have that buildup, right? Yeah, that's something I've had to integrate with myself and also teaching my clients so that I'm just here to support them, but I want them to be able to take care of their energy for in ways that they can for more sustainable ways, for sure.
Absolutely, because it's things we don't even realize. And that was the other thing I thought this should be taught in every school system. Can you imagine if, like, in elementary
Yes.
school, you had learned about your energy and then could protect your energy in middle and high school? What a different world that would be? So, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Wow. So, since you mentioned this, for those of you who are watching, I'm going to drop it's a simple PDF Google Doc link on ways to cleanse your energy every day. There's like three little methods. Find a method that works for you. And then that way, when you come to an emotion code, body code practitioner, we'll have less to clear out and you can feel better on your own. But of course, we're here to support everyone
right.
who's drawn to this work, right? So, Kate, can you tell us? It's so interesting how you found the emotion code, body code, and that's wonderful that your energy practitioner, being an acupuncturist, was able to even give you a referral to a practitioner to really help you that way. And I really feel like that's the future where more practitioners in different healing modalities start actively looking for emotion body code practitioners to work in a complementary way with their modality. I'm seeing that more and more. I have a couple therapists and one doctor right now that actively refer clients to me for that very reason. So the mind body spirit connection is gaining so much more awareness and acceptance. So there's such a need for emotion body code belief code practitioners for sure.
There really is. I feel like it's such a complementary world because I was so stuck. And then, because I started doing the emotion body belief code work, then my acupuncturist sessions were more,
Effective. Yeah.
my
You're correct.
chiropractic sessions, like my adjustments held more. Like everything kind of leveled up because the stuck energy wasn't there anymore. It's
I
just
love it.
definitely a
Yeah.
complementary world. Absolutely. Yeah.
So good. Did you want to speak about like how it resolved some of your symptoms? Did you get like a pretty good resolution or improvement, and like what kind of time frame that took and all of that?
There's certain things I'm definitely still working on, and I think that's kind of just part of life's journey anyway, because we are going to
Hmm.
just have a lot to work through. But in terms of like I was having, and not to get too personal, but I don't mind talking about it because it's going to help. I was having horrific PMS symptoms, just horrible, like would have to take time off of work, could not
Wow.
get out of bed. It was awful. And just, it wasn't something, just did, it wasn't normal, you know? But
Right.
again, everyone was like, you're fine.
No, extreme PMS is not normal. So I'm so
No.
glad you're talking about it because a lot of women, including my clients, have experienced that. So, yeah,
Yeah. And it's really something that no one talks about because they're like, this is just what it is until, you know, you're like, can I go through this anymore? It's just horrific. So
right.
that very much alleviated. We really honed in on that initially
Good.
because it was one of those things where it was kind of crippling. Like I would have to plan life around that part of my
Right.
life. And it took time. I mean, I'm not going to say it was an overnight fix. It took, I would say 6 months, but to really like notice a significant shift. But I will say that after one session, you know, emotionally, I felt so much better. I didn't
Good.
realize that physically it was going to manifest into like helping my reproductive system just work better because I was still so new to it. But emotionally, I felt lighter. Emotionally, I felt more positive. My
Yes.
anxiety went away. Depression started to alleviate. Like it's just things that I didn't even, wasn't even focused on alleviated and kind of just, it just felt like there was more sunshine in my life. And then before
That's
you know
huge.
it, yeah, it's massive. And it's something that I wasn't even aware of because I was so physically.
Yeah, and sometimes we don't realize how anxious or heavy we are until it's not there.
Exactly. You don't know what you don't know, especially when
Yeah,
it's kind of your norm, you know, like
right.
for example, as a teacher, my nervous system was in fight or flight, whether I was in school or whether I was home on the couch watching a show. It was stuck there. And so that was part of the work we did too that I didn't even realize was going to happen, you know, and that was
Right.
the cool part. So as that kind of dissipated and as we released all those energies, my reproductive system starting to work like it is. Oh my gosh, my digestive system is normalizing.
Yeah, because your body's finally, your nervous system finally calmed down enough to start
Yeah.
healing.
Exactly. So it's just, and that's why I was like, this work should be everywhere because it's so significantly impacted my life that I thought I can't not help people feel the same way.
The different ways this can help so many people in so many ways. So, yes, thank you for answering the call.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Okay, so could you tell us, like, maybe how, just some background on how long you've been practicing as a certified practitioner and how you meet with your clients, if it's by phone, video call, in person, what's your preference, that sort of thing?
Yeah. So I've been doing this for a couple of years. I really just launched working on other people, like launched the business this fall. So it was, yeah, it was September, October time. And then I've been doing Belief Code for a year because that was obviously the latest thing. It, you know, I took time to just practice on family and friends. And you know how the portfolio is. The training is so intensive, which I love because
Yes.
you really build your practice and you feel so confident on your way out. It's interesting. I just assumed when I, you know, launched the business and said, okay, here, world, here I am, that I would be Zoom, phone, distance sessions. And I still do all of those things. You know, I have clients in Spain, I have clients all over, but I also have so many that want in person sessions. And I don't know if it's,
Wow.
yeah, it's really interesting. And I don't know if it's just because everyone is so happy to be out and about after COVID. Like it just feels like things are a little bit different. And I was kind of shocked. So I do have an office space where I do a lot of in person sessions with people, and they'll travel from, you know, anywhere in New York. But otherwise, I'll do Zoom, phone, distance. And a lot of, because I work, I mean, I'll work with anyone and I'm so happy to help anyone, but because you know, a lot of my clients are kids with disabilities, phone sessions with their parents or distance sessions are just easier for them.
Just as effective
And
still,
that's,
right?
yeah, and that's what I tell everybody. And that's why I kind of will do any method because I've done every method myself, and you know, just because I wanted to make sure it is just as effective, and it really is. I mean, it works just as well, my distance sessions versus my in person. It's just really comes down to personal preference. So I think it's important to kind of just meet people where they are and where they're going to be most comfortable. And so that's what I do. I'll do any format.
Yes, and just for those who might be newer to emotion code or distance healing, by distance, we're meaning just connecting to the other person's energy, right? Where they are not on the phone or they are not on video call. You're
Right.
merely connecting to their energy and hearing from their higher self, their subconscious, which directs the session in such a beautiful, powerful way. And the recipient just sits back and receives all that healing energy and transformation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boom.
I know. It's amazing. And I've blown my friends' minds, a lot of former colleagues I will work with because teaching is hard and
Yeah, they all need it.
they all need it. I know. I'm like, I
Yeah, I
should
used
just
to
get
be
a
a teacher,
room.
so I know.
We should get rooms in schools and just do sessions there because they all need it. And a lot of them are just so busy, and it's like the last thing they want to do, even though, so it's just so funny. The text messages I would get like, did you do my session on me already? Because somehow I feel like I'm not going, I'm like way more patient or I feel so happy and I'm in the middle of the school day. And I'm like, yeah, I did, because you do the session,
Right.
you send the notes and like an audio recording and stuff, but it's fun. And that's why I love it because you really can meet anyone where they're at and help them in any way.
Awesome. So a lot of your clients are teachers, special needs children. Again, you're open to working with anyone. Do you also do animals? Is that one of your populations you like to serve as well?
I've done animals. Yeah, I enjoy working on animals. A lot of my animal sessions are distance just because they're, for proximity reasons, one and two, I can't run a magnet over a little puppy. I mean, it's just, how do you contain that? And how would I focus?
Right.
Because that puppy would be so distractingly adorable. But yeah, the majority, I don't have a ton of animal clients, but I do. And it's been a lot of fun. Kind of eye opening for me. I like to kind of just keep testing like the boundaries of my human brain because I know that this energy works on anyone and any human living thing. But to me, it's almost like a proof. Every time I have an animal
Right.
client, I think this is just so cool, that it can work. So yeah, I do, but I do animal sessions, but they are mostly distance.
Okay, well, awesome. Wonderful, Kate. I love that. Okay, are there any powerful healing stories that you'd like to share, whether for yourself or some particular clients? Maybe take
Sure.
us through some highlights.
Yeah, I've had a few. I think that's the other part of this work that I love so much is that anytime I feel, it's funny, it's like anytime I feel inch of doubt, an inkling of doubt, something happens that proves just how powerful this stuff is. So I'll give you a physical example, I'll give you an emotional example.
Okay.
I had a client who had significant neck pain, neck stiffness, and then neck pain. Could not move, really was just limited mobility. And finally had tried everything. And I said, let's give this a shot. And I cleared an energy called an entity, as you know, but they can cause significant physical discomfort. And I
Yes, they sure
cleared,
can.
it sure can, among other things. And I cleared a slew of them. I mean, it was almost like the session was focused on that. By the end of the session, the stiffness wasn't gone, but the pain was completely gone. And it was so liberating for him because he had been taking so much ibuprofen and things like that, which, how that's not great for the system in big quantities. So that was really cool to see. And
Yes.
then emotionally, I had the sweetest soul. She's a mother of five. And she came to me and she just was struggling to kind of find her joy. She was struggling with depression, but really the way she explained it is I can't find my joy. Like I can't find happiness. And so we did one session and I still see her to this day. But after the first session, she came back for her second and she told me this story about how she was going to pick up somebody because as a mom, that's what you're going to
But
do. You're
basically,
all day. Yeah. And she's like, I was driving along and it was just me in the car. And she goes, the sun was shining. And she's like, for the first time in I don't know how long, like I felt happy. And she goes, I
aw,
have not accessed that feeling in so long. And that just made my heart so happy because I thought she's so worthy and deserving of it. And she wasn't able to get there, until we removed the stuck energy. So those two stories, I mean, I have a ton, but those two are just probably two of the
yes.
biggest ones because I feel like they're so significant and so applicable to both the physical and the emotional.
Right. Yeah. I love how you shared like a physical transformation and the emotional healing. And all of those were probably in just a session or two, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the client's neck pain that went away in one session.
Yeah.
And same with the emotional. That was after one session, and we continue to work with
Right.
I continue to work with both of them because, there's still
Yes, there's layers,
there's
right?
layers like anything else, but it was just so nice for them to feel that it gave them hope. Like, oh my gosh, I can
Yes.
heal. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
I always tell people never underestimate the power of even just one session. You never know what can happen. And often big transformations, big healings, real powerful, just like you described, can happen in one session. Even if it's something that's been chronic, like your client, he probably had that neck
Oh yeah.
pain going on for a long time. Yeah. And, sometimes when entities come up in a client session, it's like you don't know how they're going to take that. So
Yeah.
you kind of got to soften it. But for everyone out there, it's a common imbalance. Don't freak out.
Very
And
true.
yes,
They're just negative, dense energy that
yeah,
they're,
heavy attachments.
yeah. And to me, I just say like they just wreak havoc. But I always tell the client, like, it's so great they're coming up because I'd rather have
Yes,
them up and out.
because that means that client is ready to let
Ready.
go.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, and yeah, I've just gotten to the point sometimes when they come up, I'll be like, okay, entity, is this just one or is this more than one? And sometimes we'll count them.
Oh
See,
yeah. Have little competitions.
see how many you're dealing with today. So
Right, right. Because we all have them. Might as well address it and get them out of there, you know?
right. And right before we got on the call, we were having some technical issues, right? And Kate even asked, like, hey, are we having any entity interference going on? But we
I,
checked and there was none. But I got to share, when I was first starting out, and this was back in 20, occasionally I would get some entity interference during my sessions. I would have to like clear them off of me, off of my space, things like that. Until that doesn't really happen now because I've kind of learned how to protect my energy and take care of my energy much better. But those were things I had to grow into. But I was just wondering how you take care of yourself, your space. Well, we probably have other energy healing practitioners somewhere, maybe who are new and still dealing with that, if you've crossed that road yet.
I have. Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I think it's kind of a journey you have to go through. You kind of have to experience a little bit to
Mhm.
recognize it because it would shut down my app. The entities would shut down my app sometimes. And I'd be like, what is going on? And then my mentor was like, always check for entities because you just never know. But in terms of protecting my energy now, like every morning I get up, I make sure to put an energetic shield around myself. I do an energy recovery where I kind of call back all my chakras. I balance myself from head to toe with the meridians and all that. And then I make sure to put up a shield that just protects me throughout the day. And I find that in doing that, and the shield, I can just, connecting gold from top to bottom, and then rose color, like beautiful pink from bottom to top to ground yourself, gold from source higher above, pink from the bottom. And that I find really helps protect me and my energy throughout the day because you do so many people that it's easy. And especially if you're empathic, it's easy to pick up on people's energies. And then I do a little shield with it's like a 4-layer shield, and that very much has protected me in terms of just helping my sessions be more fluid, less interruptions by the entities, my muscle testing is more accurate, that type of stuff really is helpful.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that you found your rhythm and your routine with that. It can't be emphasized enough, especially for those of us who do this work on a regular, so that we can stay like clear, so that we can be of our best service. Because imagine if we had all that on
Right.
us,
Right.
right?
Exactly. That wouldn't help anyone. And I'll sage sometimes in between sessions. Like I always muscle test to see if I need to sage. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But yeah, I think that's helpful too.
Awesome. Okay. Well, Kate, you seem like so light, so bright now. And I know when you were first going on this journey, you had that anxiety and heaviness that you didn't even realize so much was there. You knew something was wrong. But on this journey, is there anything else that you'd like to share about how it's transformed you or your perspective on anything or the way you relate to life or relationships or
Yeah.
all the things?
I think it's changed everything in the most positive way. I mean, it really, when you start to learn how your energy impacts you, you start to look at people differently. You start to look at yourself differently.
So
You,
true.
yeah, it puts everything in perspective. I feel like it has not only given me more patience with other people, but it's given me more patience and grace with myself because
Yes.
I'll think, okay, what's going on in my body energetically? What can I do? It just helps validate our human experience. And I feel like in doing that, it's just allowed me to really see people in a very different, more holistic, energetic light. And I think that, it brings about more acceptance and more acknowledgement and just more awareness.
You put that so well.
Thank you.
It all starts with self-love, right?
It really does. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Kate, could you tell everyone how we can connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my website is katepatrawenergy.com. And then my Instagram and my YouTube are KP underscore energy healing. My TikTok is KP dot energy healing. And you can also find me on Facebook at Kate Patraw Energy Healing.
Awesome. So I'll have all that in the description as
Okay.
well.
Awesome.
Okay. So what, Kate, if you could leave us with maybe one piece of advice you would give to someone who's energy curious, who hasn't tried this yet and kind of is just starting their journey. So maybe like someone who hasn't tried emotion body code yet, or someone who's considering becoming a practitioner, like has, but hasn't taken that leap to become a practitioner yet.
For anyone who is just starting out in the energy workspace as like on the client side, I would say be energy curious, like you said, just be open. I think that's the biggest thing. And just be open to the experience and know that either way, healing's going to happen, and let yourself just experience it and without judgment. Just be open, because I think that can make or break a session. If somebody comes in closed, I find that's harder for them to release the stuck energy. So just being open is huge. For people that are considering the certification, I will say I don't want to be intimidating because I don't want to intimidate anyone because the portfolio is decent. Like, you have to work on a lot of people. However, it's doable.
Yeah.
They put it in a way and they break it down in a way that's so understandable, and you can learn it on your own time, which is huge.
Yeah. I feel like they give us more than enough time, so
Plenty of time.
yeah.
It is plenty of time. The modules are amazing. The portfolio, although it might at first appear intimidating, it's not.
Right.
As you work through the sessions and as you just kind of build that muscle and that endurance, you go through and you really can work through it in a decent time frame. But also in working through it, you gain such experience that by the time you're
Mhm.
done, by the time I was done with Belief Code, I was like, man, I feel so confident in myself. They prepare you
Yes.
so well to help people. I really appreciate that about them. So
Yeah.
yeah, don't get intimidated. Like, you can work at your own pace. It really, similar to how the energy work can meet everybody at their own needs. Their certification does the same thing. It follows the same suit.
Yes, and all this, the certification is through Discover Healing. So I'll have their link in the description below if anyone's interested. It's definitely an amazing program. And even if you don't want to get fully certified and you just want some extra support learning the method, the base method, which is the emotion code, they now have the immersion path, which is open for anyone. And that's like, I don't know, like $100, 150. So and there's so much support in that versus just the book. So yes.
It's so doable, and they're trying to, really baby step it for people so that you can do the immersion path, and then, hey, if you like it, great, then keep going. I think their mission to get this out to as many people as possible is so wonderful. I'm so grateful for them for that.
Yes. Shout out to Dr. Bradley. Well, thank you so much, Kate, for joining us today. It was an amazing time getting to know you and what drew you. And I can see your passion. And I just know you're going to continue to make such an impact in your community and everyone who's drawn to work with you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.